Well, here we are. It is Monday, September 2nd, the end of Labor Day weekend. I hope everybody had a good time. We went spent some time down at the beach here and met some friends and had dinner last night, and it was very enjoyable. We had a great time. But it's time to talk about an auction that's coming up at Freemans. Freemans Hindman sale is coming up in a couple of weeks on the 20th. This is the sale, and I want to go through it. It has some nice lots. It's not a huge sale, but they have some very nice things, some very attractive objects, and with reasonable estimates, and the kind of things we look for. It's a 180 lot sale, primarily Chinese, some Japanese, and a few other bits, but very well done, very nicely laid out, great photography and good descriptions. And the items, some of the items, I found some pieces in there I really, really like. And I want to go through them. Very collectible. The first thing is this. This is a large, probably 18th or early 19th century jade plaque, and it's not it's not one of these little 3-inch jobs. It's 7.5 inches by 7 3/4 inches, but it's beautifully carved. This is a really lovely, and to me it looks 18th century. Maybe they're just hedging to say it's 19th because it could maybe be Qing period, but this really looks like 18th century carving. The buildings, the way it's finished, the polish, the layering of the rocks, the color of the stone. It's a very nice piece of nephrite, beautifully shaded. And then if you flip it over and look at the back of it, it's done in a very low relief with tree branches, almost like intaglio going through the stone. But if you look at it, there's another landscape on the back that's very low key, but it is there. It's very charming. Clouds up above, nicely polished on the edges. It's a beautiful stone, and it's a big thing. It's this big. That's a heck of a piece of jade, and the estimate I think is reasonable for what it is. It's estimated at $10,000 to $20,000, $5,000 opening bid. I don't know how much the reserve is. The reserve may be below the starting price. I don't know, but it's a wonderful piece of jade, and it's certainly worth $10,000 to $20,000. I think it's just very, very fine. It could go well beyond that. We've seen plaques lately do awfully well, and this is a big one. This is a whopper. It's really nice. And then there's this spinach green jade. It's a double vase, Qialong period, very nicely polished, beautiful stone, and it's got the archaistic base at the bottom with a phoenix head on it. Chimeras climbing up it. This is really a beautiful, beautiful piece of jade all the way around. It presents very, very well. And there's the dragon on the other side. This is my favorite side of it. I think it's just great, and it's got its original cover. There's a little activity going on, climbing out of the vase. The stone glows. It's very, very pretty. There it is, Qialong mark on the side, mark and period. I think it's great. I think the estimate is very fair, $50,000 to $90,000, $50,000 to $60,000, but it's pretty big. This thing is good size, 10 inches tall. That's a pretty big block of jade. And when you think about what it took to carve this out of a much bigger block and reveal these beautiful colors and then polish it all out and do the work, obviously, to me, it obviously looks like Imperial Workshop stuff. Just absolutely great. $25,000 opening bid. If you're a heavy hitter in the jade market, you definitely want to check that out. And then over to this. This is a dandy Quillen and Boyce censer, 17th or 18th century, early Qing dynasty. Very nicely done, and it's big. This thing has got good size to it. It measures 11 and 5/8 inches, so it's almost a foot tall. Most of these, you see these incense burners, and they're 5 to 7 inches, something like that. A foot is big for one of these, and it looks like it's in wonderful condition all the way around. There's still some gilding showing on the robes. The body looks very nice. It's beautifully cast, very smoothly cast. The Quillen's face is wonderful. I like the stand. The stand is later, but it's a good stand. And here's the view overhead. You see that the boy's head, the patina is undisturbed. You can walk right around it, all the way around it. There it is. There's the opening. Got some nice looking natural stuff going on in there. But the casting of this was really, really good. Very finely cast. There's the back of it. And the estimate I thought was very low, $1,500 to $2,000. I think that's sort of a no-brainer. I suspect it'll go for a good bit more than that. I suspect it'll go for $4,000 to $6,000 anyway. I didn't look up comparables, but this is a very nice one. It's got a very low starting bid of just $750, but expect it to go for more. don't be surprised. It could go well over it. Lately, we've seen some results that are really stunning, far over the estimates, far over the estimates. Sometimes they go over the estimates because the auction house made a mistake. That happens. They're human. But this is a great example. And then over to this, the Femme Noir. This is a Qing period vase. Black glazed with gilding on it, archaistic decorations. It measures 15 inches. This is a big one. And we've seen these in blue and white, this almost identical shape done in blue and white with very similar blue and white decoration. And here it is in gilding, with gilding. It's quite exceptional looking all the way around. There's the bottom of it. The foot rim, all this looks absolutely fine for the Qing period. The gilding has some wear to it here and there. That's pretty normal, but it's an unusual vase to find in this color with the gilding on it like this, and so close in design to the blue and white examples. So if you have the blue and white one, you might like this one to go with it side by side. It's estimated at $20,000 to $30,000 with a $10,000 opening bid. It's a rare bird, and I think it'll probably get up there. If among Qing collectors, but boy, you don't see that form, that Hu form, very often like this, a Z-shaped porcelain, as they're calling it. All right, now over to this. This is just a nice box. It's got a Hongmu liner in it. It's cloisonné. It's about 6 inches long, but it's very attractive. Really attractive. It's a nice table box, and you don't see good table boxes very often, especially ones with wooden liners like this. It's neatly fitted, very nicely done. I don't agree with the dating I'm on. They're dating this as to Qing or Republic. This looks older than that. The cloisonné work looks older than that to me. The way it's done, I think it's more likely probably. Well, I guess 1850 Tongxi period, somewhere in there maybe, because the shading and the pinks and the colors and the way it's finished all the way around, just to me just rings to be solidly mid 19th century rather than 1890 to Republic. It just doesn't seem that way to me. Now I can't see the bottom of it, so maybe the bottom would make me change my mind, but it doesn't make any difference. It's a very pretty box. It's estimated at $1,500 to $2,500 with a $750 starting price. Extremely, again, reasonable. Ben does a good job over there. Ben Farini, he runs the department, and they're there to sell the stuff. They're not there to annoy people with high estimates and high reserves. They're there to do business, and it's a nice company. I like them a lot. And then you have this. This is a very nice thing. I love the color of these cups. They're beautifully done. They're dating to the Jing period. I can't disagree with it. The way the foot rim looks, the way the mark is done. It's not imperial, but these are very nice colors. There's a bit of orange peel on the sides. You can see it's fairly evident, so you know they're not older than that. And I don't think they're later. I don't think, judging by the way the bottom looks, I certainly don't think these are Republic or anything. That's not what they look like when they did them. They're $1,000 start, $2,000 to $3,000 estimate. They're awfully nice. They're awfully nice. And small red cups are hard to come by. They don't do them very often. They didn't do them very often. And then onto this. This is a 10¼ inch jar. We've seen this form many times, but this one with this very strong cobalt decoration, I think is pretty striking. I love the way the flowers are done. I like the very milky white. It almost looks like Kakeyamon paste. It's so white. It's extremely white, milk white paste, and this very good quality cobalt all the way around with these bronzes and flowers coming out of it. And up here we have stacks of books and so forth. The lid looks like it has a repair to it right there. You want to confirm that, and you want to confirm if this is a repair over here or is it just something that happened in the firing, because that does impact value. But other than that, it looks fine. And old repairs on these things are not unusual. And it was sold by Moog down in Atlanta years ago. They were a great dealer. They handled a lot of very good Chinese domestic wares. They handled a lot of very good Chinese export wares. They did a very good job. They did shows, and you will see the H Moog sticker on things all the time. And they had this priced at $4,800, probably 20 or 30 years ago. It's a nice piece. Right now it's estimated at $1,500 to $2,000, which I think is very low. It measures 9 inches height, 10¼ in diameter. No, the diameter is 9 inches. It can't be that. Yeah, it's 9 inches in diameter, 10 1/4 inches high, which is big for this form. You don't see that form very often this size. Usually it's 5 or 6 inches. This one's almost double that size. And then over to this. This is another form you see often and usually bigger. There's some very interesting miniatures. If you like miniatures, stick around for this. This is sort of a miniature of a goo form vase that they did make in the Kangxi period, but they were generally fairly big. They tended to be 15, 16 inches in height, 18 inches in height. This one is only about 7 or 8 inches tall. And I love the horses. Everybody, I like horses when they're on Chinese art. And this is a very nice one. You have the pine tree coming up behind them. Nice celadon glaze. I don't see anything wrong with it. There's the bottom of it. It's not marked or anything. A lot of these weren't marked. And it's estimated at $2,000 to $3,000, but it's only 8 7/8 inches high. That's an unusual and very rare form. For one of these goo form vases. And the goo form, of course, comes from the Shang bronzes dating way back. And that form continued on, right, they still make them today. And then there's this. Everybody recognizes this. This is a fairly well-known shape for tea dust glaze. But have you ever seen one? How big is? I want to get the height exactly right. Lot 30, height. 3/4 of an inch? No, wait a minute. No. They messed up the thing there. It is small. It's very small. It's only 8 inches tall. There we go. I was because down here they have 3/4 height, 3/4 inches, or 22.4 centimeters. So it's about 9 inches tall, but it's small for one of these. Typically these vases are 13, 14, 15 inches. So it's definitely on the small side, and it's a beautiful glaze. Beautiful, beautiful tea dust glaze all the way around. And the mark on the bottom looks fine. A few years ago, I had one of these. It wasn't a little one like this. It was a bigger one. It was identical on the bottom. It came out of a family collection. This one was handled by Ian J. Frankel. They were top dealers in New York for a long time. They handle a lot of very good things. And so I think that's a safe bet. But the foot all looks absolutely right for Qialong. The tone of the glaze, it's got that nice it's got a slightly yellow tinge to the glaze. It's speckled. The potting looks excellent on this all the way up, and it's an unusually small size, and the estimate is extremely reasonable, $3,000 to $5,000. This I think will get up to maybe $6,000 to $9,000, $8,000 to $9,000. Don't be surprised, because it's a rare size. It's a good bit under the. If you go over to Christie's and Sotheby's, you look up the standard tea dust glaze vase in this form. You'll see what I mean. They're 12 to 15 inches typically. So this one's about not quite half, but it's 40% smaller than the typical one. And then over to this, there's a couple of nice copper red glaze pieces in here. This one is an 18th or 19th century example. I looked at it pretty carefully. To me, I think this is more likely 19th and 18th, but the color is very good. It almost has this reddish flambe effect coming down the side with the striations in it. The glaze is very neatly stopped right at the foot. So if it's 19th century, I think it's probably pretty early in the 19th century. It's estimated at $3,000 to $5,000, which shouldn't shock anybody. It's 8 1/4 inches tall. These have been around. These vases have been doing great for a number of years. For the last 15 years, these copper red pear-shaped bottles, bladder-shaped bottles, anything along this line, there's always interest in them. And then there's this one, and this one I think is a little better. It's a matter of personal taste. I don't think necessarily one is better than the other, but this one is a little bit bigger. It's 12 inches tall, and I like the slightly brown tinge to the copper red. I like the way it's potted. I like the sort of large body on it. And you get around to the bottom of this is another one that was sold by Mugen Company down in Georgia. This is an 18th century vase. I don't think this is 19th century at all. It's got this very nice blue tinge you typically see on 18th century pieces. The shape is a little bit atypical, but not a shape I associate with the Jing period, but with the later Qialong The glaze, I think, is very, very nice. I love the very neat way the line right here at the bottom where the glaze is stopped. It's all done perfectly. It's all done perfectly. There's nothing wrong with this vase. $1,000 opening bid, which is a no-brainer. And the last ones we've seen of these 18th century and early, they call them 18th and early 19th century to be safe. So they look at phone calls after the sale, people yelling at them that they disagree and they want a rebate of some kind. And that's usually what it is. It's just silliness. When you bid at an auction, you're bidding, and that's it. And if you don't know what you're doing, don't put your hand up. Anyway, we've seen these, and they in the past couple of years, vases like this have been selling for $3,000 to $5,000. I think we had a very nice, not too dissimilar one in a video a year or so ago that went for about $6,000. So don't be surprised, but I'd be surprised if it sold for the $2,000 to $3,000. But you don't know; you could get a bargain out of it. And then there's this, one of these rondelle robes, and over the weekend we saw one of these go through. Was it on eBay? No, one of the live auctioneers auctions. And one of these very nice rondelle robes did very well, brought $12,000 or $13,000. This one's got vibrant colors. Very nicely done. The silk looks like it's in great condition. I don't see any staining or fading anywhere. The dragon done in metallic thread, no loose threads anywhere on that. Looks very good. You want to check it out. You want to, if you're interested in buying this robe, you want to call up and get a pretty in-depth conversation about condition, loose threads, sleeves, seams, and so forth. Is the liner in good shape? Any stains anywhere that aren't visible in the ads, that sort of thing. But that said, this robe should bring $8,000 to $12,000. I don't think it may bring what the other one did, but you don't know. It could bring 15. But these rondelle robes are very collectible. People love them, and they've been a real popular item now for years and years and years. So keep that in mind. But the estimate, I think, is artificially very low. It's got 24 bidders already, and the auction isn't for 3 weeks. Always watch this number down at the bottom. If you want to know what your competition's going to be, check the number of bidders watching the item, and that'll tell you a lot. All right, and then you have to assume over on Invaluable, there's some people watching it, and there's some people on Doyle's site, on Freeman's site watching it, and probably a few others that I can't think of off the top of my head right now. Sale room, that sort of thing. So you're going to have watchers everywhere. And when you get up to where you get 50 or 100 watchers, you're going to have some competition, so expect it, but don't be discouraged by it, because what it is confirmation that you're on you're going after the right thing. But now you have to write the check. All right, and then there's this very nice early 19th century informal robe, Chang Fu. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. It looks like, there's maybe some damask on the silk there. The colors are fairly muted. And I'm not sure if that was intentional or is this from sunlight. No, those are the shades. I don't see any blown out reds or anything on here. I think it's got a little bit of softening from sunlight, but I like the look of it a lot, and I love these phoenixes, these red-headed cranes rather, inside of the floral swirls. Very attractive. Estimated at $2,500 to $3,500. It's very nice. And I think it'll probably get beyond that, probably $6,000 or $8,000 anyway. But some of these robes in this color, because it's an unusual color, can do very well, and may do much better than we're thinking. And then this is I think this is one of the best lots of the sale as far as interesting things go. It's got 5 official rank badges in it, and they all look to be nice ones. And I love the little one in the middle here with the Fu Lion hollering. I love that one, and I like the other one here. Whoever owned this was a fan of Fu Lions, because every one of them's got a Fu Lion in the middle of it. They look to be in good shape. They all look to be 19th century. The one on the upper right may be early Republic, or maybe a little out of period, but the other ones all look great, and it's a neat little collection. Estimated $4,000 to $5,000, $2,000 starting bid, including military rank badges, which is very interesting. And one of the badges does date to the Daguan period. So the estimate is reasonable, $4,000 to $5,000. I'm pretty sure it'll get there. It's a nice looking thing. If you're a silk collector, go look at this auction. There's a lot of silk. I didn't go through all of them. There's quite a few pieces of silk in here, and some very, very, very nice one. And you have this one, a very standard but very desirable Shifu robe. This is in beautiful condition. It's got nice full length sleeves on it. The cuffs look good on the ends. I don't see anything wrong with this at all. The colors are very strong and bright. I love the lower skirt, the apron down at the bottom. It's nice and nicely colored. The colors, the reds are good here. You notice there's no fading in the reds at all. That's actually pink thread that they worked into it. That's more pink thread here. But nicely done. 19th century, second half of the 19th century. What will this thing bring? I think it's going to bring more than the estimate. It's got already, this also has 21 bidders on it. It's estimated at 4,000 to 6,000. And lately, these robes haven't been selling very often. Rarely do they sell for under 8,000. So this is going to do fine. So don't be shy about hitting it for 5,000 or 6,000. If you get it for that price, you got a steal on your hands. And then over to this, another shifu, another robe with the cranes. This is another rondelle robe. And this one's interesting. It's got a dragon in the middle and then cranes around on the edges. And this very, very brightly woven apron down at the bottom. The skirt is very, very nice on it. I like the sleeves, whole thing. And it's got different colored work sewn into the collar up here, which is rather unusual. And I think this is a nice thing too. There's the back of it. It looks to be in good shape all the way around. And I don't see any loose threads. Because I always check the gold threads because often they get hooked on things and get pulled off and then they need to be fixed. It's a little bit of a pain in the neck to get them fixed. But this one, I don't see any of that on here. And I think this one also is very modestly estimated at 2,000 to 3,000. Expect it to bring 8,000 to 10,000 at least, maybe 12,000. That's just the way the silk market has been lately. And then over here to the paintings. This painting is a neat set of paintings by Gu Lao, and they were estimating. Let's see, he was active between 1763 and 1837. So he's a Qialong to Qing period artist. But this is a lovely set of paintings, and they're all connected. So you get there's 4 panels, and they've got some good, nice detail shots of them in here. They're very, very charming scenes. And you can pull them in like this. They look like they're in good shape. They were, from an album of some kind. Somebody had them mounted. But I love the way that they were mounted. They hang like almost like screen panels. And beautifully done all the way around. Intimate interior scenes, people sitting, precious objects, all kinds of things. All kinds of great things to look at in these paintings. I always love to see how they depicted incense burners and vases and bowls and objects that they were appreciating at the time. And this has quite a bit of it. You always see it in the corners. Here you have this very lovely throne that some sort of empress is sitting on. You have this very lovely outdoor scene with a garden, very classical, quite charming. Here's a nice detail shot. This is a good-looking set of paintings. Very nice-looking set of paintings. There's a slight bit of foxing on them down here, a little bit of it. You can see it. It's probably dead by now. That was a common thing years ago. And then up here, this is a very good example, sitting at a table. And you'll recognize the forms and shapes of the furniture, which is always fun to do. Go through and look at the furniture. Here's a day bed over here, lacquered stand with a potted plant. Here's what it looks like. It's sort of in the style of a Ming table with these brackets in between and so forth. So it's very, very nicely done. I like this. And the estimate, I think, is dirt cheap. It's estimated at 4,000 to 6,000 for all of them, for the whole set. And that seems awfully inexpensive for 12 paintings. That's $500-600 a piece. That's an absolute bargain for even at the high estimate. Don't be surprised if they do better. But there's only 5 bidders watching it right now. Maybe it's going to be an opportunity for someone. Certainly for 2,000 to 4,000 is a steal. It's very much a no-brainer. They're pretty good size too. They are each frame section is 53 by 28 inches. So it's about roughly 4.5 feet by 2.5 feet in width. So they're nice size. These aren't little narrow, nothings. They're good size. They'd make a room. They'd look great in a room. They'd look great hanging together in a dining room, something elegant. They'd be beautiful. So give that some thought. And then over to this. This is a Japanese, some of the Japanese material that's in here. This is a Japanese patinated bronze metal Shoki and Oni figure, Koro Meiji period, but very fine casting. Really, really fine work. Very, very fine. It's such a shift from what the Chinese were doing at the same time in the period. They didn't do anything like this, really. This is exceptional work. Really, really, there's a demon down here. There he is, the wind blowing his sleeves up. The casting is exceptional, and he's about to vanquish the demon. Just exceptional, marked on the bottom. And it is estimated at $3,000 to $5,000. But keep in mind, it's big. It's 20 inches, 19 and a half inches tall, basically 20 inches tall. So this is a big bronze. Meiji period, $3,000 to $5,000. I think that's more than reasonable. $1,500 opening bid, absolutely. And we'll see where this goes. And then, oh yeah, this was the other thing. I threw this in at the end, this peacock rank badge. I just like this. This is an old one, late 18th century example. Very nice colors, Qialong period. But I love the waves, the way the waves are done at the bottom. And the colors are still quite good on it for its age. There's the back of it. This is what the colors all look like on the front originally. It's always fun to flip them over and see how bright the oranges are and the yellows. And this is what it looks like now. They've muted down a little. These peaches, for example, when you flip the thing over, those are the original color of the peaches. That's what they look like. This is what this thing, the color tone is what it looked like when it was new. These were the colors. Very bright, very strong. Over time they mute out, especially if they hit with any sunlight. But it's a wonderful badge, estimated at $3,000 to $4,000. The last time we saw Qialong rank badges with the peacock on it, I believe they sold for around $5,000 or $6,000. So I think they'll probably get through that estimate just fine. How many watchers has it got right now? It's already got 20 people watching it. And then on to here, there's some Harado. There's a very nice piece of Harado in here, and some Makuso Kozan pieces. There's a number of very good pieces of Harado in here. This is one of them. There's others that are actually estimated high. I just love the shape and form and the decoration and the masks on the side, and then the little fuline with the ball on top. I think it's absolutely beautiful. All the way around, it's got different scenes, and it's all carved all the porcelain's carved out on the lid and around the sides. And it measures, it's 9 inches tall. It's not a little 2 or 3 inch thing. It's good size. $1,500 to $2,000 is the estimate. Don't be surprised if it goes over. Some Harado pieces lately have done pretty well, $3,000 to $4,000. Not a surprise. And then this is the Makuso Kozan vase of bamboo. It's a well-known pattern. He was known for this pattern in particular, and he did it in a wide variety of sizes from fairly small. This one is 11 inches height. It's sort of in the mid-range of the sizes he did. I've seen some that were 6 or 8 inches down in that size, and I've seen them as high as 19 inches. The 19-inch tall examples can bring $8,000 to $10,000. This one's estimated at $1,500 to $2,500. I think that's maybe on the high end. It might be more reasonable to expect it $2,000 to $3,000 for this, maybe $4,000, because it's a desirable type. And this one looked very well painted, but all of Kozan's stuff is beautifully painted, very crisp, very sharp. Very precise. Good. Notice that his ability to shade and tone the cobalt. So out in the open with the bamboo leaves, it was much lighter. But as you got in behind, in the lower areas, he darkened it, and it gave it a great three-dimensional look to it. And the joints in the bamboo, then the bamboo disappears into the mist down below. It's very, very attractive, and I like the way he does his rim on there. It's nice. It's got a nice flat. It's very, very architectural to the piece. And then you go over. It's marked on the base, beautifully finished base, all the way around, double circles, incised and then drawn. $1,500 to $2,500. I think it'll do pretty well. It's got 11 people watching it, but there are still some very serious Kozan collectors out there. And this is another one that he did also. It's a dragon vase, and this one is 8 7/8 inches tall. Meticulous painting. His yellow vases tend to do pretty well. The big ones can bring $8,000 to $10,000. This one is of course a bit smaller, but it's very nicely done. Very, very nicely done. Of course, with all of these, you want to get a condition report just to make double sure. Here's a picture of the bottom with the square mark that he used. It's get the exact height on this, 8 7/8. It's estimated at $1,500 to $2,500. I suspect it'll go up around $3,000, $3,500, because some of the Kozan pieces have done lately. But it may not. It may not. You never know. You never know. Everybody might get distracted by what's going on in New York and forget about this little Kozan example. And then this is another piece of Harado that was in the sale. I like the form. It's sort of a baluster form. It's 11 inches tall. It looks like a big vase. It looks like it's a 15-inch. It's the way the body is done. If somebody said, "Oh, this vase is 18 inches tall," you'd say, "Yeah, I get it," because they could proportionally make these. It's not. It's a good bit smaller, but it's very nicely done. Very nicely done. Beautiful potting on this. Beautiful, beautiful potting, and very soft cobalt, you'll notice. It's exceptional. And there's the other side with the big pine tree climbing up it. Love that work. That's such attractive work. And always pay for the art. Always pay for the art. Buy the beautiful thing. And it's estimated at $1,500 to $2,500, $750 opening bid. I think it's a great thing. And there's a lot more in the sale. The sale's got a lot of material. I just went through some of the highlights just sort of to work through it. But these are just some of the jades. There's a lot of jades in here. There's some nice pieces. There's a very good, if you've been looking for a Zetan 3-tier picnic box, a good one, he's got one right there. This is a very nice box, just as an example. Beautifully grained wood. Looks like Paktong metalwork on it. Nicely done and in good condition. All right, and these do bring money. I'd be surprised if it sold for $3,000 for the estimate. The last few we've seen of these, they brought a good bit more. They brought $5,000 to $7,000, but we'll see. We'll see. You really never know. But there's a lot of good stuff in here. There's some screens. You got all the jades. You've got a lot of paintings. There's some very nice paintings in here. These are just some of the robes. As you can see, there's quite a bit of silk here. And when you go to the next page, there's even more. There's groups of rank badges. There's more robes. There's a lot more rank badges, more robes, more rank badges, more rank badges. There's even some Korean rank badges in here. And then there's some very nice Java stone carvings, if you're into that sort of stuff, Buddhist bronzes, Sri Lankan material and so forth. You want to check that out. There's all kinds. It's an interesting sale. I don't know where this estates came from, but they've got some rather interesting examples, and I think they're worth a good look. All right, so that's what's there. Go over and check it. The sale is on the 20th, but you want to give yourself plenty of time to do your homework and decide what you really want to go after. Get condition reports and all that, and don't slam the auction house with it 3 days before the sale. They end up doing a lot. They got a lot of paperwork to do. Plan in advance. Get your requests in. We do this with every auction house. Every auction house wants to hear from you. If you have interest in their stuff, they want to hear from you as soon as possible because they want plenty of time to give you a good response and encourage your participation and so forth. So don't wait until 2 or 3 days before the sale and then suddenly decide you need all these condition reports, because it's not fair to the auction house. They put the stuff up 3 weeks, 4 weeks in advance so that you have plenty of time to do your end. So do that. But it's a good auction. Get a hold of Freeman's and see what they've got going. And it's all Freemans Hindman. I'm not used to saying Freemans Hindman. Same company now. They merged. All right. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. If you liked it, tell me what your favorite pieces are. Let me know what you liked in here. I saw a lot of nice pieces. We're gonna get into the Doyle sale in the next one, and then we'll be talking about what's coming up at Christie's and Sotheby's and so forth and Bonhams, what they've got going on. And so far, not all the catalogs are up, but all the images are up. But they'll be there soon. All right. See you all soon. Bye bye.